Hello and welcome to The Bullvine, where we dive deep into the legends and lessons of dairy breeding. Today I'm going to share the story of a bull that fundamentally changed the course of Holstein breeding worldwide. This isn't just any breeding story. This is the tale of Hanoverhill Starbuck, a genetic revolution born in a humble Ontario barn that continues to flow through the veins of 83% of North American Holsteins today. Picture this with me. It's a crisp Ontario morning in 1979. The dew still clings to the pastures as two men, Robert Chicoine and Harley Nicholson from Quebec CIAQ, trudge through Peter Heffering's barn at Hanoverhill Holsteins. They've been scouring eastern Ontario for days looking at bull after bull, their clipboards heavy with notes, hopes gradually fading. And then they see him. A 45-day-old calf with a starburst blaze on his forehead, standing with what I can only describe as bovine confidence. Those wide-set eyes tracking the men as if he knew his destiny. I've talked with Chicoine about this moment, and he told me he wasn't just good, he had that look. The kind that makes your clipboard hit the floor. What they couldn't possibly know at that moment was that this $2,500 investment would return $25 million in semen sales and completely rewrite Holstein genetics across 5 continents. To truly appreciate what made Starbuck revolutionary, I need to take you back to the Holstein world of the 1970s. I remember it well, an industry divided. On one side, you had commercial dairies desperately chasing efficient milk production, often at the expense of longevity. On the other, you had pedigree breeders pursuing those angular frames and picture-perfect udders that won ribbons but sometimes left cows broken down before their time. As my old mentor used to tell me, it was like 2 different breeds sharing the same hide, show-ring Holsteins versus working Holsteins. By 1975, artificial insemination had already transformed the landscape, with 75% of Canadian herds using AI. But this created genetic bottlenecks. Would you believe this? 99% of Holstein Y chromosomes were traced to just 2 bulls from the 1960s. That's not diversity. That's a genetic house of cards. Meanwhile, the market was shifting beneath our feet. The cheese and yogurt boom created unprecedented demand for protein-rich milk. Holsteins lagged behind Jerseys in solids, but their volume made them the industrial choice. This was the crossroads where Starbuck emerged, a breed desperately needing a sire who could bridge the divide between show-ring perfection and commercial practicality. And boy, did he deliver. What made Starbuck special wasn't just one trait. It was the perfect genetic storm. His sire, Round Oak Rag Apple Elevation EX96, was already legendary for milk volume and style. Those daughters averaged a staggering 29,500 pounds per lactation with the iconic Elevation udder, high, wide, and tightly attached. His dam, Anacres Astronaut Ivanhoe V88 Dom, was equally impressive. Her 365-day record of 28,677 pounds of milk at 4.2% fat put her among Canada's elite. Through her grandsire, Paclamar Astronaut, she contributed exceptional mammary traits and longevity genes. But Starbuck's true magic was consistency. I'll never forget walking through a barn full of his daughters in 1987. It was uncanny, like seeing the same cow repeated row after row, those perfect rear udders 12% deeper than average, protein at 3.2% when that meant premium milk checks, and 82% with textbook leg angles. We'd never seen anything like it. The breeders called him a genetic photocopier. 94% of his daughters shared his signature wide-chested frame and perfectly placed teats. By 1990, his lifetime profit index hit plus in 500, combining 2,100 kilograms milk, plus 75 kilograms combined fat protein, and plus 2.3 PTAT for confirmation. He was the first bull to rank in the top 1% for both production and type, something only 0.3% of today's genomic sires achieve. CIAQ knew they had liquid gold in their nitrogen tanks. By 1998, they'd sold 685,000 semen doses across 45 countries, enough to fill 1,370 liters, generating a stunning $25 million in revenue. That's over $45 million in today's money. I've seen his daughters thrive everywhere they landed. In Bavaria, they averaged 8,900 kilograms milk over 305 days, 12% above German averages. In Ukraine's Sumy region, his descendants still constitute up to 40% of breeding stock today. Even in South Africa's punishing heat, they maintained production where other genetics faltered. But it was in the show ring where Starbuck truly became a legend. Between 1986 and 1995, he earned 27 Premier Sire titles at major North American shows. His daughters collected 82 All-American nominations and 130 All-Canadian honors. I remember a Quebec farmer telling me, seeing a Starbuck heifer stride into the ring was like watching royalty enter. You knew she'd win before the judge even looked at her. CIAQ's windfall transformed the AI industry. They funded young sire testing for 500-plus bulls annually, invested in early BLUP models that laid groundwork for today's genomics, and established distribution hubs across continents. Starbuck's proven track record convinced even the most skeptical farmers to embrace AI, pushing Canadian adoption rates to 89% by 1990. By 2000, Starbucks' influence had reached levels we'd never seen before, and frankly, hope never to see again. His 200,000-plus daughters span 45 countries, with 62,000 in Canada alone. In Quebec, an astonishing 95% of Holsteins carried his genetics. His 209 proven sons, including standouts like Hanoverhill Raider with his plus 7% protein transmission, extended this dynasty into a third generation. The global footprint was staggering. From Japan's northern island to Brazil's dairy regions, Starbucks genes were reshaping the Holstein breed worldwide. But, and this is crucial for you to understand, this dominance came at a cost. By 2000, inbreeding coefficients in Quebec herds hit 6.8%. His daughters, while productive, showed -1.23 for fertility. Their extreme dairy character, while beautiful, correlated with 18% higher culling rates for metabolic disorders compared to outcrossed herds. The smartest breeders adapted. The Danes started crossing Starbuck line cows with Viking red cattle to improve hoof health. AI centers eventually limited his lineage to 5% of catalogs, using SNP-guided mating to reduce inbreeding risks. As Lactanet's latest report shows, Holstein inbreeding rates have stabilized around 9.61% in recent births. However, the annual increase of plus 0.25% remains the highest among major dairy breeds, a lingering echo of the Starbuck era. Starbuck's career spanned an extraordinary 19 years. Most bulls retire by 12. He remained fertile until his death on September 17, 1998, in Saint-Hyacinthe, Quebec. His frozen semen from the early years continued producing daughters well into the 2000s, with a Michigan dairy reporting a 2005-born daughter yielding 18,300 kilos milk at 3.7% protein. Then came one of the most fascinating chapters in his story, the clone. In 2000, scientists at Université de Montréal and l'Alliance Bovitech created Starbuck 2 using somatic cells frozen before his death. The calf initially showed promise, but mitochondrial DNA discrepancies led regulators to block commercial use. The cloning process took 64 attempts initially. Despite the technical achievement, by 2010, genomic selection had made cloning obsolete. Starbuck 2 was cremated, a symbolic end to an ambitious chapter. I love what Dr. Lawrence Smith noted about this experiment. Cloning taught us precision, but also humility. Nature's blueprint resists shortcuts. Starbuck's influence even extended beyond agriculture. The 2011 Quebecois film Starbuck and its Hollywood remake, Delivery Man, explored the ethics of mass genetic contribution. His story forced our industry to confront inbreeding risks, leading to today's optimal contribution selection protocols. The contrast between Starbuck's era and today's breeding methods couldn't be starker. When I look at how Chicoine and Nicholson selected him, relying on visual assessment and pedigree, it feels like ancient history. Today's breeders use 50K SNP chips to decode DNA, predicting traits like methane efficiency and feed intake before a calf takes its first breath. Where Starbuck's proof required years of daughter testing, genomic evaluations now achieve 85% reliability in calves, cutting generation intervals by 40%. His daughters met 1980s needs for protein and volume. Today's indices prioritize feed saved and methane efficiency, measured through mid-infrared spectroscopy and SNP markers. Modern breeding also addresses Starbuck's greatest weakness, genetic concentration. Optimal contribution selection caps single sire influence at 5% of AI catalogs. SNP-guided mating, using 13,250 markers, reduces inbreeding by 22%, even in regions like Ukraine where his descendants remain dominant. CRISPR trials now target specific genes to enhance reproduction and milk yield simultaneously, addressing the fertility deficits his line introduced. Meanwhile, K-means clustering of SNP data helps breeders balance productivity with genetic diversity. I can't talk about Starbuck without acknowledging the genius of Peter Heffering and Ken Trevina, who built Hanoverhill Holsteins on a revolutionary premise. Functional type isn't just about show rings, it's about cows that last. Peter rejected the false choice between volume and vitality, selecting for deep ribs for feed capacity, correct leg angles for longevity, and udders that could withstand high production. His mantra, breed the best and the rest will follow, guided a program that reshaped global genetics. Heffering's philosophy crystallized in 1983 with the $1.45 million sale of Brookview Tony Charity, another Elevation son. The sale funded Hanoverhill's expansion into embryo transfer, allowing him to multiply his best cow families. His humility always struck me. We didn't set out to create a dynasty. We aimed to breed the best. And I love his practical wisdom. A cow's value isn't in her pedigree, it's in her ability to outlast the mortgage. By 1995, 92% of Canadian heifers carried Hanoverhill genetics, a testament to Heffering's focus on adaptability and his proof that excellence need not sacrifice sustainability. If you're breeding Holsteins today, Starbuck's story offers timeless wisdom. His dominance revealed both the power and peril of genetic concentration. Today's tools like optimal contribution selection mitigate these risks by limiting individual sire contributions. With Holstein inbreeding rates at 9.61%, Starbuck's legacy reminds us, genetic progress without diversity is a short-lived triumph. His success also teaches market responsiveness. Starbuck met 1980s demand for high-protein milk, just as you need to adapt to today's priorities. A2 Biva Casein, New Zealand now produces 86% A2 milk. Environmental metrics, with methane efficiency becoming crucial. Feed efficiency, as the U.S. Net Merit Index prioritizes residual feed intake. As one Danish breeder put it, we're not just selecting cows, we're curating supply chains. The bottom line? Starbuck's genome is both foundation and warning. Progress without preservation risks extinction. His daughter's protein yields built empires, but their fertility struggles revealed the cost of imbalance. Modern tools now let us honor his legacy while avoiding its pitfalls. Remember this above all, genetic greatness isn't measured in semen doses sold, but in herds that thrive across generations. As I wrap up today's episode, I want you to contemplate Starbuck's hoofprint on history. His legacy is etched into the very DNA of modern dairy farming. From his 200,000-plus daughters to his 27 premier sire titles, he redefined what a single bull could achieve. His genetic penetration remains unmatched. 95% of Quebec Holsteins carried his lineage by 2000, and today, 35% of the world's top GTPI females still trace to his pedigree. His show-ring daughters proved that style and substance could coexist, bridging the divide between pedigree, prestige, and commercial practicality. Yet his greatest contribution may be the lessons learned from his shortcomings. The fertility deficits and inbreeding spikes forced breeders to confront the cost of unchecked genetic ambition. Today's approaches, from optimal contribution selection to CRISPR-edited traits, blend his production prowess with ecological stewardship. As Holsteins face climate mandates and ethical scrutiny, Starbuck's influence persists in the udder structure of a champion heifer, the protein yield of a commercial herd, and the algorithms parsing genomic data. In every modern Holstein's stride, Starbuck's DNA whispers, a testament to how one bull's blueprint can milk the future, for better and sometimes for worse, but always with lessons that transcend generations. This has been the Bullvine Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode about Hanoverhill Starbuck, please share it with your fellow breeders, subscribe for more stories from dairies past and present, and join me next time as we continue exploring the legends that shaped our industry. Until then, may your calvings be easy and your milk checks plentiful.